This Bond gun is a cult classic and a favorite of mine. Welcome back to Gun University. I'm your host, Graham Bates, and today we'll be taking a look at the Walther P99AS. So the P99 is this guy we're looking at here. Yes, it was a Bond gun. Came out in the mid to late 1990s and was revolutionary in a lot of ways. The ergonomics, for one, rocked the world. It was kind of the first time you had a pistol that was really shaped well for the hand. If you think of other guns from the mid to late 90s, they didn't have that. But the biggest one is the anti-stress system. That's what the AS stands for. Watch this. Once again, we have a clear gun. Pulling the trigger, you get to that false little click there, and it hangs there. That's your anti-stress system. That's if in case you bump it or you're startled or something like that. That will click and pause, but that's not there every shot. Then you come back to the wall, crisp break. Watch this reset. Very short, clean break again. Let's say the round didn't go off. Oh, we've got double action. That's because this is a double action, single action striker fired. If you watch in the back, you can see we have a little red indicator poking out. That's actually the tail end of the striker, and you can decock this by pushing this button here, and if you watch, that bumps the trigger forward to your double action. So you have a double action first shot and single action consecutive shots like a DASA would, or you can just leave it in single action and you've got that as kind of your oops button, and back to the regular single action thereafter. Now this one has been a bit modified. This is out of my personal collection. I carried it for a number of years, and one of the things that I did, aside from swapping out to tritium fiber optic sights, which are very bright, is install one of these DPM systems recoil system. This thing is actually 3 springs. There's another spring nested inside of there, and what they do is decelerate the slide on the way back. They serve as a cushion, meaning the slide never bashes into the frame like you traditionally get at the end of a stroke. It won't slam back there, and accelerates the slide back forward after the shot. As a result, you get a very flat shooting gun, and if you combine that with a trigger that has a reset like that, you end up with a very quick, very flat and easy shooting gun. Enough talk, let's get back to the range. So Tia is with us today. As always, she selected to take the Walther P99 with us to a training course we're headed up to. Chose it out of about a dozen or so single action, double actions, even though it's striker fired. And kind of as a testament to trigger controllability, and yes, it is definitely a challenge on shooter skill, we've got that Titan Great Outdoors spinner out there again, 6-inch target, about 10 yards or so. And what makes this challenging is you have to time your shots. So ideally you hit it as it's moving away from you, and the more you hit it, the faster it gets and the harder it is, which makes the trigger control a lot more important. Let's see how Tia does with this. And over the top. Now, as you can see, the better you are, the harder it gets because it moves faster. And if you hit it when it's coming towards you, you kill the momentum. And that made for 10. Tia, what do you have to say about trigger predictability and controllability on the Walther P99?
Well, of all of the guns that I've had the opportunity to shoot at that target, this is the only one that's allowed me and enabled me to flip that thing around. So I got a little bit excited there. I can't say enough about how pleasant this thing is to shoot. Definitely was not my first option for a carry gun when I was looking, and I regret that.
In a mini or snack version, if you will, of what we do over on the YouTube channel, What's for Dinner Test. We're going to run 6 different loads through the P99 to show its ability or inability to run with different types of ammunition. We've got aluminum and a steel cased ammunition. Those both expand and contract at a different rate than brass. Then we've got 4 defensive loads ranging from 115 grains up through 147s using brass, nickel-plated brass, and black nickel-plated brass, and different bullet profiles. We want to see, does the gun pick up from slide lock? Does it cycle and feed the next round of same type? And lastly, will it lock open after the 3rd round? That one for me with Walthers, unfortunately, is a challenge because my thumb tends to rest right where the slide release is, and so I don't always get slide lock at the end. I have to consciously keep my finger away from that. Let's see how it does. So this is our target, and we are about 7 yards away to make it a defensive distance. Tia will be doing the shots, and first up is that Blazer aluminum 115 grain. Gun cycled with no issues and printed decently. Next up is the classic Spear Gold Dot. This is a 115 grain hollow point with a nickel plated case on a second target. These tend to have stouter recoil, and you might be able to hear a little more thunder. No issues cycling the gun. Printed a little lower that time. Might have been anticipation of that increased recoil, maybe.
Not with the first shot ending low.
She says not with the first shot. All right, we'll blame the ammo. Our next load is the Wolf steel case 115 grain. This stuff tends to be a little spicy. Remember, that steel is going to expand and contract at a different rate than the brass the gun was intended for. That's where some guns choke. I'm also going to add in advance that this gun hasn't been cleaned in a couple of years, so we'll see how it does. And they all printed together just slightly low. Nice group. Our 4th load is going to be from Archon, and this I believe is loaded by Gecko. It's a 124 grain big gaping hole of a hollow point, which might cause issues, and a black nickel plated case. Through those, my thumb was riding on slide release as it always does. Next, we've got Eiffel 65's favorite ammo. This is from Federal, the Syntec Defense 138 grain segmented hollow point. Why does a early 2000s Euro pop band like it? Well, because it's blue. Important feature I forgot to mention when discussing part of the design of this gun earlier is the magazine release. You may notice there's a hole where a magazine release would normally be. That's because this paddle is the release, and it's on both sides. I like to use it because I hit it with my middle finger without having to shift my thumb around the gun like I do for a lot of button mag releases. You can strike it from, I can't strike it with my thumb from the front. I gotta use my middle finger. Some people with shorter fingers like to use their trigger finger, but it keeps your hand exactly where you left it when you were last firing the gun, which means after reload you're back in action very quickly. Other manufacturers have attempted the paddle mag release thing. Their mag releases tend to be about half the length, which means you have less leverage, so you got to push harder, and it's at an awkward angle, whereas this for me is just straight down. Very, very convenient. Back to our target, 138 grain Syntex. Definitely more recoil with these. Punchy, but they smell like cinnamon, so that makes it better. Nicely grouped, and it was enough recoil that my thumb being near the slide release did not prevent it from locking open. And our sixth load is a Browning load. This is 147 grain BXP X point. Why? Well, because if you look in the tip, it has a little X. I don't know if the intended target will see that coming at them, since these are moving pretty quickly, but it's pretty. Target number 6. No issues cycling any of these loads. We've covered aluminum, we've covered steel, and we've covered defensive loads of varying weights. Now for a practical accuracy test, big variable of course being me, but we've eliminated the ammo variable by using Nosler 115 grain match ammunition. When I chronoed this stuff, I had a 1.5% variance in velocity, which is incredible for handgun ammunition. 5 shots at 7 yards on that center target. Pulled that one. And there you have yet another reason why the Walther P99AS has a bit of a cult following. They are still imported in small numbers, but the gun's been around for a long time. Incredible ergonomics, features uncommon like that paddle mag release, the ability to second strike should the round not go off, and a double action, single action with an anti-stress mode on the original. Incredible gun. If you get a chance to hold one, try it. When I did, and pardon me for being a little vulgar here, I know that this is a family venue, but the way I described the P99AS is the first time I picked it up, I thought my hand might get pregnant because it felt that good. That's what made me a fan of it to start. Then it shot like you've seen it shoot, and that's why this is a favorite of mine and one I strongly suggest checking out. Thanks for watching.